case that has caught the attention of all of us, and it is just frustrating and heartbreaking, and you can only imagine what that family is going through. Savannah, in her videos, you can see the morphing into desperation, which was the last sort of word she said in her final video, and now this. Any credence you put into this person who contacted TMZ, I'll give you, if you give me a Bitcoin, I'll tell you who did it, or is this just a loser looking for $66,000?
I mean, this is such a tragic situation, and it is, like you said, so difficult to trust an individual who is looking for a kind of slightly larger payout than what's being offered through an untraceable means. It certainly feels like somebody just trying to take advantage of the situation, but as I always say, you know, my crystal ball is in the shop. It's impossible to know whether or not this individual is just scared of giving information about dangerous people, or, you know, just doesn't want to have to expose themselves in a way while giving this information. So while I certainly hope there is more information out there so that this woman can be recovered and her family can get a little bit of peace, I also have a great deal of skepticism based upon the way that it's being asked for.
The individual that was pulled over in a traffic stop. They were being followed. They were identified. This was targeted post video. Somebody saw that video and say, hey, it's the delivery guy in the neighborhood, likely. It's one of those, they pull him over, question him. I don't know if they swabbed him or not. For some reason, they're like, nope, definitely not him. There's something he said or did, or they collected, relieved him, and they let him go after he was detained. But one could surmise that the only reason that they pulled him over in the first place was the public release of that video and somebody calling in what could have been a valid tip. To me, the video is only a day and a half or day old in terms of the public's consumption. It does give hope, does it not, in the investigation?
The earlier in the investigation, the more hope there is, right? And as you said, it was clearly that this individual was being followed and pulled over because nobody drives 100% legal all the time, right? An officer will just follow you until you're nervous enough that you forget to do something, cross a line, forget to use your turn signal, whatever. They will find a reason to pull you over if they need to. And in this case, it sounds like they were just waiting to detain this individual. And honestly, I think that the tip, right, that gave them this person is probably neighbors with the best of intent wanting to crack the case. Right? Somebody who's like, that looks just like the way that the delivery guy comes up to our Ring camera. That must be it. That must be it, right? People want to be helpful. But the unfortunate thing is that people can convince themselves that they know 100% who that is. Eyewitness testimony is incredibly unreliable. And so I'm sure they got a tip that it must be this guy. I'm positive it's this guy. And then who knows what was said during that, interrogation. He might have literally just been able to show he was somewhere else at exactly this time, right? If this isn't him, this isn't him. And it's always so difficult as a criminal defense attorney to hear that, because of course you want to give information in an investigation, but every time a defense attorney hears somebody giving a statement to officers, it's always, anything you say can and will be used against you. So I'm so glad that he was able to provide some additional information to further the investigation and have himself exonerated. But that's an incredibly scary situation to be pulled over and interrogated for such a serious, allegation.
Bottom line, you're day 11, you mentioned the time, but it's only day 1 of the video in terms of potential tips. Do you think this is going to get solved?
I certainly hope so. I'm going to keep my, thoughts and prayers out that it does get solved and that it is early enough and there are requests that hopefully, will make sure that Nancy Guthrie gets home.
Absolutely. Everybody, I think, shares that sentiment, except for maybe the person that sent that letter to TMZ asking for a Bitcoin, and I'll tell you who did it. My gut says he doesn't know anything, but we'll see. He's in that letter to TMZ. He said, we've tried to contact the Guthries through email and cell phone and have not been successful, or I have. So, to your point, maybe there is some there, and they can get to the bottom of it, figure out who it is, get the information they need, and if it cracks the case, great. But we shall see. Let's leave it there. We'll update you if we get any little blurb out of there, any tidbit that comes out of Tucson, we'll pass it along. For now, we'll get a break coming up, and we'll head back to Florida. This is the fatal rejection murder trial. It's our newest trial.